beyond the reach of the profane eyes, the notches, the Vadashis and the Baedas danced before the altar of Vishnu. Suddenly, I was a strange, energetic, proud human being. Proud indeed. Too proud to accept defeat. Too proud to be without talent. Too proud to be ugly. You ask me, Father, if I want to know what is happening in Holland. No, Father, I do not want to know. It would hurt me and make me sad. I have overcome everything. At this moment, I have my own carriage. And within a month, I go to Russia where I can enjoy myself. I am still very young, beautiful, full of life. I don't fall in love with anyone. I like this kind of life. From when I was a child, I have always loved men. The sight of a strongly built male sent me to the state of ecstasy. I say this without pretense, because a journalist appears to me a kind of doctor, to whom I can say calmly, so many centimeters above my knee, I feel this or that. I understand a man who marries a woman has the right to expect from that woman what the law has dictated in the first place. Faithfulness. I have not been faithful. A woman like me as I am is quite unmanageable within a marriage. It may work for a moment. In the long run, this calm life of little household duties, kitchen room glittering, living room glory is boring. Certainly this life suits me. I can satisfy all my caprices. Tonight I dine with Count A and tomorrow with Duke B. And if I don't have to dance, then I make a trip with Marquis C. I avoid serious liaisons. In the year 1908, I was declared as a star of dance. But it was getting difficult to sustain my success and keep drawing in the audience, especially since Oriental dancers in flimsy costumes had suddenly become all too common in the music hall stages of Europe. I was over 30, and everyone who was anyone had already seen me dance once. I wonder whether you know of anyone who'd like to make an investment, like a capitalist, for the protection of artists. I find myself in a rather difficult circumstance. I need money immediately to pull me out of this situation and to grant me the tranquility of mind which is so necessary for my art. As a guarantee for this loan, I offer everything I have in my house, including horses and carriage. I wrote this letter to my agent. It was a ridiculous scheme that came close to asking him to act as my pimp. I wanted to live like a colorful butterfly in the sun. In the year 1913, I was desperate enough to dance for relatively low pay at private parties and in musical comedies. I sometimes went to Maisons de Rendezvous, houses one step above brothels with men. I was interviewed and photographed for Vogue. Then in the year 1914, to prepare for a new dance and to research at the outstanding German museums, I left for Berlin. In July, the Austrians invaded Serbia. I was not a French citizen. The bank froze my accounts. I boarded a train to Switzerland, but the German guards don't let me pass the border, as I made the mistake of telling them that I was headed for France, Germany's enemy in the war. Friendless, short of cash, I fell back on my greatest talent. I charmed a Dutch businessman who arranged for me to reach Amsterdam. In the year 1914, I was visited by the Honorary Council of Amsterdam. His name was Karl Kramer. Kramer recruited espionage agents for Germany and offered me 20,000 francs. He asked me to write in invisible ink. So incriminating, undignified, complicated. He instructed me to sign all my communications with the code name H21. I was suffering from wartime shortages of food and coal, not to mention luxury and amusement. With 20,000 francs in my pocket, I bowed Kramer out of the door. I had no intentions of spying for Germany. I felt no guilt or obligation to do anything for the 20,000 francs. I had always taken money from men because I needed it, and they had it. Later in December, I left for Paris, but I was stopped at the port along with other passengers and questioned. I was searched thoroughly. Nothing incriminating was found, but the police did not regard me above suspicion. I was refused permission to enter the UK. On what was this assessment based? There were minor discrepancies in my account of why I was going to Paris. But surely, such inconsistencies are typical of those questioned by the police. The real problem was not what I said, but who I was. I was a young woman, traveling alone, wealthy, an excellent linguist, too educated and too foreign to make a British officer comfortable. I was a handsome, bold type of a woman. I admitted to having a lover. Women like me were immoral and not to be trusted. This was wartime, and women were expected to be home-loving, patriotic, brave, beautiful. I did not have those traits. I was indeed to be suspected. During this time, I met many men, but 3 would have enormous importance in my life. The first is 2nd Lieutenant Jean Callot. I met him when I performed at the Molière Circus. He was 26, tall and handsome in his cavalry uniform, and wealthy. I wanted to visit Vittel to take the waters for my poor health, but I was refused permission because the city was in the war zone. I asked my lover hello for advice. He referred me to the Military Bureau for Foreigners. I left Paris. The second lover to influence my life was Captain Vladimir the Maslov. I called him Vadim. He called me Marina. My first lover, Hello, sent me to the third man who would shape my life. Captain Georges Ladoux, head of French intelligence. It was he who received the warning from the British that I was under suspicion, and it was he who was determined to bring me down. Counter-espionage today is not such an easy task for the internal police. The enemy does not limit himself to spying the details of the military operations. He seeks also to dissolve our national defense forces. I was a juicy target for Ladoux. He wanted to capture a spy as a major victory. His need to succeed was determined by how badly the war was going to France. I met him in his office. Him. You must be very expensive. Me. That. Definitely. Him. How much do you think you're worth? Me. All or nothing. Him. If you love all of France, would you do us a great favor? Me. Yes and no. This is not the sort of thing for which one offers oneself. Him. Would you do it? Me. I have never thought it through. Him. Reflect upon it. Do something for us. I will give you your pass for Vittel, only promise me you will not seduce any French officer. Me. There is no danger of this. I know of a Russian with whom I am very much in love. Captain Ladoux enlisted me as a spy for France. A most peculiar choice. I was known by sight to thousands throughout Europe. Despite wartime austerity, my comings and goings, my rendezvous with important men and my fashionable costumes were reported widely in gossip columns and magazines. I was certainly seductive, but was never on any occasion invisible. I was manipulated, betrayed, lied to. I admit I was never one to stick close to the truth when telling an invented story suited me better. I did not lie with malicious intent, only for convenience. I have already been the mistress of a crown prince, and I can do with him what I will. Listen to me.